This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report Podcast, presented by the Southgate Media Group.
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Krypton Report Pod can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Skype, YouTube, and Instagram.
And if you want to drop us a line, send it to kryptonreportpod@gmail.com.
We are on Patreon under Southgate Media Group.
And our official merch page is tpublic.com. Search Krypton Report.
Now on with the show.
All right, everybody. Welcome to this special edition Krypton Report Summer Movie Series special. It's a mouthful. Hey, who's got a phone? No phones in the movie theater. The lights are dimming. I thought
Turn your phones down.
Who is that? I will come through this microphone.
Hey, my phone. That's my phone.
Well, as you can hear their lovely voices.
It is down.
Once again, I am joined by two Cape Crusading pals as we venture to Batman. That's Batman again for our special series about Batman for the 80th anniversary as we move towards our discussion of the eventual Joker movie. And I don't like talking to myself. It gets very boring, even though I am entertaining to myself. So I had to bring along my faithful sidekick, Commissioner Gordon, a.k.a. Bryan. Welcome, Bryan.
Hello, folks.
And then always wrapped in shadow and secrecy, there is the great, the powerful James Batman. Welcome, James.
How's it going?
It is going quite well. And I will be Robin. Because you know why? I love Robin. And I do, actually. I really do like Robin.
I'm Batman.
I do have to share a quick story as we start. I recently watched this with my 4-year-old Solomon. And if you're listening to the show and you're not heard about Solomon, well, you probably haven't listened to a lot. So welcome to your first episode. And I watched it with my 2-year-old daughter, Miss Sayla. And the first thing they said to me was, "Where's Robin's pants?" And I had to text.
Yeah, I remember
both
you
of
messaged me.
So you want to be Robin so you don't get to wear pants? That's what it's all about?
He likes the tights and the elf booties.
I do like the elf booties.
The elf booty.
You can't beat the elf booties, bro. But I've always liked Robin. Of course I like Batman, but I've always, I thought Robin's, just as a sidekick and, Dick Grayson and all as a character. So I will say, just real quick before we talk more, we're not going to do a commentary track for Batman the movie, which is the Batman 66 movie, because we didn't have the time to work it out. We were going to record this as our first Bat episode, but it's actually our second. And just quickly, we discussed a little bit last time, but what is your history with Batman 66? Bryan, as our guest, you go first.
So I think we talked about this last time, but
yeah, we did
I don't
touch
really
on it. So.
Well, I don't remember any time where I didn't know Batman. I remember seeing Superman the movie when I was 4 years old. So I think around this time is when I was introduced also to Batman 89 and Adam West's Batman. And I think what I loved most about Batman 66, as we call it, is just there was a different villain every episode. So whereas Batman 89 only gave me the Joker, the greatest villain of all time, Batman 66 introduced me to so many other things. Introduced me to Mr. Free, is definitely one of my all-time favorite villains. The Riddler, before we got Jim Carrey, Burgess Meredith's Penguin, Vincent Price's Egghead. I guess like where Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson's Batman and Joker gave me all that dark stuff that I kind of like thought was a little bit cool as I got older, and that's definitely the Batman I prefer now. Batman 66 as a child, like your son Solo's age when I was introduced to it, it made me happier, it made me funner, and I wanted to be Robin, and I wanted to hang out with Batman and hand him the shark repellent bat spray and get to ride in the car and all that stuff. And it's so fun, but as you're older, you do see all the silliness that the movie or show entails, and we definitely want to talk about that tonight.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. James, what's your kind of history of Batman 66 in your life?
Well, I mean, I like I had said back on our Batman 89 commentary, I've always known Batman. I was 4 when 89 had come out, and so most of the Batman that I had probably seen around that time was the 66 show on in syndication. So as a little kid, it was Batman. It was funny, it was cool. You loved the noise, or the sounds that were done from words, when they hit people. So that was really fun to watch.
Yes, it was.
So I've always known of Batman 66. I've always watched Batman 66. I'm sure I know there was a time when I didn't watch it very much because of the camp factor, but you get a little bit older and you appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
And just within the last 2 years, when it was on, Batman the movie here was on Netflix. Kids, and they were 2 years younger, and they were watching it and they loved it. They thought it was great. They like Batman. They love the animated stuff. They watch movies and stuff. Kids, they get out of touch with live action stuff, movies that are a couple hours long, and they go off and do their own thing. But they enjoyed watching this, it being so colorful and funny, and having a lot of the villains. They had themselves a good laugh watching it as well. So I enjoy Batman 66, and Adam West and Burt Ward, just iconic now.
You're absolutely right. I think all of us have this love-hate relationship with Batman 66 where we loved it, and then we grew up and we were like, man, that's not cool. That's not Batman. And we didn't want to talk about it. And then
I don't know. And
then we were like, oh, we come to terms with it and we like it again. So
I never hated it, I just, I was always, I got to the point where it's the camp factor. It's not as cool. It's not as dark and action packed, and but then you realize, you get a little bit older, you realize it was what it was, and it made no apologies for being what it was, and it was very enjoyable. It's very funny to watch, and it takes you back. It's really simple and fun to watch.
Yeah, I had a kind of hate with it just because it seemed like everybody was like, oh, Batman, and that's all they ever talked about was 66. And no, there's more to Batman than Batman 66. And
so Tyler, would you say that Adam West's Batman is your least favorite Batman?
In live action?
Yes, or live action, or just period.
Yeah, yeah. I would say it's my least favorite. I can say that, but I don't hate it now. Like there's a place for everything. I mean, I loved it because when I was little, I had a younger brother, so having a TV show or a movie that had Batman and Robin was great because when we would go to play, we could both be, Batman and Robin. We had someone we weren't fighting over. I'm Batman. No, you're Batman. It was we're both Batman, so we can play, or we're both Robin.
How come no one wanted to be Chief O'Hara?
Because he's a moron.
I know that you're Commissioner Gordon. I know you're Commissioner Gordon, but come on, man. Like,
all right.
See, I'm just ashamed that in '66 I don't have a mustache. Where's my mustache here?
The we talked about how the Gotham PD and was it Peter Boyle? Was that his name? Plays Commissioner Gordon.
So
Peter Boyle was
no, it's not Peter.
Okay, I have the name wrong. Commissioner Gordon from the Keaton.
Oh, Pat Hinkle?
The white
Pat Hinkle.
hair
There
guy.
we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about how he's Gotham PD and him are practically useless in those movies.
The
Gotham
worst police
PD
force ever.
Yeah, Gotham PD and Chief O'Hara and Commissioner Gordon can't get anything done without Batman in '66.
This is true.
I remember. I don't know if it's in this movie or it's in an episode, but I remember something like Commissioner Gordon goes and says, where were you guys? What happened? They're like, we made a wrong turn and ended up at the dock. And the whole time I'm like, you guys are the police of this city. You should know where every turn is on every nook and cranny. Like, you are the worst police force ever in the history of everything.
Yes.
They go from the worst police force to the most corrupt police force.
In like 10 years.
Boom. There you go.
So let's think about this. All right, so Batman, the movie. We're going to focus more on the movie, but Splinter was, and I had said this before, for the longest time, this is the only piece of home media you could get for the Batman 66 series. You weren't able to get any of the TV episodes or anything like that. You couldn't buy them. So I remember my mom buying the VHS of this and watching it, and it was great because the show, like I said, it had Batman and Robin, but it also had the villains in it. I mean, this movie, if nothing else, is amazing just because we have Joker, Riddler, Penguin, Catwoman all together. I mean, and Frank Gorshin is amazing as the Riddler.
You're darn right he is.
And
best Riddler ever.
Burgess Meredith is amazing as the Penguin. Cesar Romero is amazing as the Joker. And as I was stating before, and I know I'm going to say this, and Brian's going to make a smart comeback, and I'm ready to defend my comeback once we get there. But I feel like every Joker has worked for the time it was created. And I have a hard time picking one better than the other because I feel Cesar Romero's Joker is perfect for this time.
I have no quarrel with Cesar Romero's Joker.
I know that, but I'm talking about Jokers in general, and we'll get there.
There's only one Joker I have a problem with. Only one.
We'll get there. But so that's why people are like, "Oh, Jack Nicholson was better than Cesar Romero." I can say yeah, but I can say, you know what? It was two interpretations of the character, and they're both perfectly valid, just like Adam West's Batman is valid. Now, gentlemen.
Yeah, they're completely different.
I have a question for you.
Well,
This is a man question. Okay? We usually don't talk man questions on this show, but Leah Merriweather or Julie Newmar's Catwoman, which do you prefer?
Well, I mean, the Catwoman I remember most is from the movie.
Yeah, same here. just because I had this
Yeah,
one
me too.
to
Me too.
watch more. And I remember watching Batman 66, the show on FX, on reruns. But this was the Batman of that time that I had, because it's the only thing I could have at home, And I, for the longest time, I didn't realize there was another actress as Cal. I'm not going to talk about Eartha Kitt. Okay, I'm not going to touch on that.
You didn't notice Eartha Kitt? No.
But no, the whole Lee Merriweather and Julie Newmar thing was pretty crazy, actually. And if I remember right, they filmed this movie like in a break from season 1.
Yeah, it was right after season 1 they made this movie. They did season 1 of the show, and then it took off so well, and they're like, okay, we need to really market this. We need to really strike when it's hot. And then they made this movie. And then now I don't know if you guys have the Blu-ray of the show, but if you do, you'll notice that season 2 is very long. Like season 2 is actually broke up to 2 parts. If you try to get this show digitally or whatnot. So after this movie was so successful, then they had this long season 2, and then the show kind of like, what more can we do? And they try to bring in Batgirl to spice things up, and then they're like, okay, we're done. We're going to bring on the Bronze Age of comics and change things.
Well, I think, the way you just talked about the production order, it seems more like the way they do a lot of animated series, where they will order like an initial 13 episodes, and then if it picks up, the second season is like 60-some episodes or something. And, and then later when they divide it into home release, that's why it's really confusing to look at like the release order of Batman the Animated Series and then the order if you buy it on DVD.
Right.
But I did not realize, I was reading some stuff here, that Frank Gorshin, the amazing Riddler in this movie, does not appear any of the second season. He doesn't. He returns in the third season.
Yeah, they got that. What's his name? The guy that was playing Gomez Adams for
John
a time.
Adams.
Yes.
John Austin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank.
It's John Austin.
Well, I have never watched the show all the way through. I have only seen random syndicated episodes on television. So, I can only go by what I've heard for certain things, like the dip in production costs for season 3, the changing of the Catwoman.
Yep.
I can barely remember Eartha Kitt as Catwoman ever. Lee Merriweather for the movie is the one I recognize the most. But I also know of Julie Newmar.
I'm with you. For the longest time, I knew of things. I remember always watching the opening credits, getting excited to see if the Batmobile, comes, the Bat Cycle with Batgirl comes roaring across the screen.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of it, but I couldn't tell you
where an episode is placed.
Yeah,
except for the only episode I could probably tell you is a high diddle diddle riddle, and then the next episode or the first 2 episodes of the series. That's about it.
Let's see. I have the 3rd season. I bought it when there was a special when BVS came out. It was $10 for the DVD set of season 3, and it came with a $5 ticket to the movie. So I bought that one, and then I have all the digital files of the series somewhere.
You'd be happy to know that I have it on Blu-ray and I have it on digital. But when I watch it on Blu-ray.
So how is it on Blu-ray?
How about that?
I was going to ask you how
You
how
actually watch it on physical media?
Yes.
Oh wait,
physical
wait! This
media.
is a flip from last time where Bryan gave us like heck for not streaming and being all hip,
Being all old school.
Yeah, he was hitting us pretty hard.
I love streaming, but when it might have been, I forget when it came out on Blu-ray. It might have been within
like I said, it was around 2016 because I know there's a big thing. That's why it was on. They had it out when BVS came out.
Yeah, every time I go to Walmart and I walk through the movie section, I see Batman 66. I'm like, man, I need to get that collection.
Yeah, how does it look on Blu-ray? Because I feel like the colors would pop, but does it like, I'm watching on DVD. Okay, that's what I have, and even then, like in DVD definition, there's just things you start to notice where the resolution's higher, and like sometimes with older things, when they were filmed with low def and all that type stuff, that just it doesn't hold up, or like it looks horrible in high res.
Well, to put it in perspective, so when that Blu-ray box set came out, my wife Jen went and got it for me because she knew how much it meant to me. So,
lucky you.
I have a good wife.
He does got a good wife.
So in the box set, really big, there's like a button you can press that'll play the bat song, the bat theme with it. Yes.
Go ahead.
It opens it up. It has like a little Hot Wheels Batmobile I still have the box.
Oh,
it
that's
has
awesome.
like some trading cards. And then nice felt in there. There's like a little tidbit from Adam West and all this stuff. It is fantastic. And the colors are brighter in HD, with the Blu-ray and the remaster stuff. The sound's great. But to put it in even more perspective, I think it was 2 years, it might have been 2 years before Adam West passed away. I was in Pittsburgh because I'm from Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh at the time. And a year prior to when I met Adam West and Burt Ward, Adam had to cancel because of health issues. So when he came back, it was a big deal. And I'm in the Q&A room, and this guy comes up in the questions for Adam West and Burt, and he's like, yes, this question is for Mr. Ward. As you know, the Blu-ray set has just recently came out to purchase for home media. Mr. Ward, in episode 13 of season 2, scene 4, you can clearly see that you have a bruise on your right leg. In the next said scene, that bruise has disappeared. Due to the high definition quality, you can see this bruise very clearly, and then it disappears, Mr. Ward. How is that so? and Bert's like ready to answer, and then Adam just covers the mic. He's like, I'll take care of this one, old chap. Well, you see, Bert got his ass kicked by a bunch of girls. and then Bert's laughing, and he's like, get out of here. But Bert says, I did all my own stunts back then. And we were filming a couple episodes at a time, and I got kicked pretty hard and bruised. So when we filmed that, I had the bruise, and then we kind of had to wait a little bit for it to heal and kind of put a little bit of makeup on afterwards. But that's what it was. And thank you for that. Yeah. So you can. So
kind of a simple.
Yes.
Yeah. Kind of a simple answer to. I mean, not like it would have been complicated. I mean, That's a answer you could get for any question with that content. Asking about a bruise.
But if you go to these Comic Cons, every time there's always this fan that asks this crazy outlandish question. Like, come on, we're fans, but no, we don't ask stuff like that.
I have some sense of like how things work. Like makeup and stunts and all that fun stuff. So
I mean, Burt Ward, he got to fight with Bruce Lee, for gosh sakes. I mean,
I do want to say, like, in Batman 66, the movie, like when I was rewatching it, I really did notice a lot more of the matte paintings and stuff in the background. It was like some of the magic was gone. It was kind of sad. I was like, oh.
Yeah. I don't know. When I watch old stuff like this, and you see like the matte paintings in the background, that it's so clearly, done on a sound stage and stuff. I love it because it's like, man, that movie magic back in the day, like what they could do, they didn't have this high definition. It didn't look like that. It looked real enough at the time. Like it's still impressive what they were able to do in the time with the practical effects and the moderate budgets that they had.
Oh yeah, I mean you're right.
The funny thing is, I'm on that scene when they're standing on the buoy out in the middle of the ocean, and Penguin and Joker are shooting torpedoes at them.
And they're magnetized?
Yes.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's the painting that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you see the water around them, and you're like, they could seriously just step out into the water, just like walk off set right now. It's like the end of the Truman. It's like the end of the Truman Show.
I know, right? I actually just passed that part. What does a turkey do when he flies upside down? What weighs 6 ounces? Ah, crap, it's gone.
He gobbles up.
I mean, seriously, that is some seriously leaps in logic of how he figures that out. That is all I'm going to say. That is some serious, like, okay, so I got a question for you.
Got an answer for you.
If you were Batman and you had to take on his rogues gallery, which villain do you think would be the hardest for you to battle with, Bryan?
Riddler. Definitely the Riddler. Penguin's got like some trick umbrellas. He's got a good bit of he's got a good bit of smarts, but mostly I just have to watch out for his gadgets. Joker is a little bit unpredictable. But at this version, the Joker is more like a Joker, not a mass murderer. Catwoman, you have to restrain your feelings in her seductive ways, but the Riddler is going to outsmart you in every turn. And I'm not smart enough to solve these riddles. Like you get these riddles on this show, and like Batman's like, I don't know. And it's always some crazy riddle, and then Robin's like, gobbles up, or Rustin's going to slip on a banana peel.
Exactly.
It's a completely nonsensical riddle.
and I'm right there with you, Bryan.
Most of the time.
I'm right there with you. If I was Batman and I was fighting crime, the one I would have the most problems with would be the Riddler. Because I'm like, I don't know these answers. And I would feel sorry for Gotham City. So, all right, James, who are you? Who's your foil?
Well, I mean, if we're talking these 4 characters, I mean, it's got to be the Riddler with the nonsensical riddles with the crazy answers.
So I'm just talking period. Like if you were fighting.
Period.
Yeah, you're fighting.
Okay.
Bad villains.
Well, I hate the cold, so I'd be frigid trying to go up against Mr. Freeze. I would hate it so much. It would make me angry.
Oh, I thought we were talking about villains in this movie.
Gentlemen, I just want to let you all know that I was just in the presence of pure beauty. Jania just walked past me.
What's that like?
I know.
Is your nose a little brown right now?
It's pretty amazing. It's a one of a kind.
See, I don't get that. I don't get that great things very often. Like, usually when I'm doing the podcast with you guys, my wife's like in her little office game room. I can't see her. I mean, I know she's beautiful in there, but I'm over here. She's over there.
Yeah, I don't know. Mainly, she just scared the crap out of me because I'm wearing my headphones, and she came down the stairs super quiet. So I was like, "Holy crap! I don't even know how." So here's my next question. Okay.
Yeah, I see my wife. She's looking pretty beautiful. What's up, girl?
My next question is, and Jania and I were talking about this the other day because we were talking about just Batman. I'm trying to get her to read Damned. If you turn into a Batman villain, which villain do you think you would turn into?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I would like to be Bane. Incredibly intelligent and incredibly physically imposing. Both.
I could see you as Bane. That's the thing. I could see you as Bane.
Give me a luchador mask.
Do you go up to Batman and be like, do you even lift, bro?
Yeah, right.
Be like, I mean, I could definitely see you like destroying like him with your mouth. Like, I'm just gonna eat you. But no, Bryan, like if you turned into a Batman villain,
man,
like who do you think that you would like connect to?
Jeez, I've never thought of this.
I know, this is what happens when you hang out with me. You're just like, what the? You're like, where does he get these wonderful questions? I know.
Man, wow. I mean, I'm not, I wouldn't go around just killing people. And, so, like, the Joker is my favorite villain, but I couldn't, like, I remember that's No Man's Land story where he was just going to kill a whole bunch of babies. And I think it was Commissioner Gordon, or maybe it was Commissioner Gordon's wife that went in there and kind of stopped him. Yeah, I couldn't do that. Gosh, I don't know. I think I would probably be more Ra's al Ghul because I absolutely love ninjas. I wish I could be a ninja.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah, man. I call up Shredder and see what we can put together. But I always loved Ra's al Ghul as a villain because he doesn't have completely and utterly. It's not completely evil intentions. He wants to make the world better. He sees the scum in the earth. He sees that there's other evil and crime and just horrible crap going on, and he just thinks we need to cleanse it, and then we can build off the ashes. And I always intrigued that about Ra's. And,
yeah, he definitely wants the world to survive, but by any means necessary.
Right. And I think I could go with that. But then again, it's really hard for me to make really any decisions, so I probably end up being Two-Face.
Yeah.
Two-Face, that's the one I chose. Because I feel like if something caused me to be like a Batman villain and to go there, I would still have moral dilemmas and I would still have issues, and the duality of everything of what's right, what's good, what's wrong, what do I do. So, speaking of Two-Face, did either of you ever see the pseudo threequel to Batman the movie?
Of course, just watched it a couple weeks ago.
Batman versus Two-Face animated series?
Yep.
Or animated movie?
Yes, that is what I am referring to.
I actually just watched both of them within the last month on Amazon Prime.
And, I actually really enjoy that they are basically like, the first one was supposed to be a direct sequel, and then the Two-Face one was out of the unproduced script idea that for the show. So it was those were really nice, and fun to have. It's just additional Batman footage,
I started reading the Batman 66 comic, which I really enjoyed.
Oh yeah,
I want to read more. Nice. I only read maybe the first volume, but I love the idea of them being able to do villains that maybe weren't even around at the time, or villains that they never got to do on the show or in the movie or anything. Like a 66 version of Bane. I want to get to that. I want to get to that story.
Wait! You're telling me there's a 66 version of Bane?
In the comic books, I'm pretty positive that I read he's in it. Yes.
I did not know this. I am intrigued.
Yeah. Well, Bane is my favorite Batman villain. Has been pretty much since I can remember. And have you read the Forever Evil Arkham War? I believe is the name of it. It's one of the Forever Evil tie-ins.
I have not.
Bane is actually. Yeah, Bane is the main character in that, and the Justice League is gone. They're off the map for the Forever Evil storyline. Mm-hmm. Bane actually basically protects Gotham. It's his city to do with what he will, and he doesn't destroy it. He becomes more of a protector of Gotham. And they actually have the comic book Bane, and in it he's wearing the Dark Knight Rises Tom Hoodie jacket with the fur-lined jacket and stuff. It's nice. That's pretty awesome looking. Yeah, it's pretty awesome shot.
That's pretty dope. Not gonna lie, that's pretty dang dope.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to read this.
Yeah, it's a Forever Evil tie-in from the New 52 when the Crime Syndicate came over and took over the Earth.
That's what this whole villains month or villain things kind of reminds me of.
Year of the Villain.
The year of the villain.
It's gonna be interesting when I pick up Superman and Supergirl. See what their first issues of Year of the Villain are like.
I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not.
Well, we know it's. Well, we know it's a. It comes out of the totality and Perpetua from the Justice League, where basically the Legion of Doom has swayed the majority of people to the side of Doom, to say that that's what's going to save the Earth. And so it kind of more people are excuse, plus Luthor has divvied up his fortune to the villains to give them whatever they need to be able to take out the heroes and stuff like that. So pretty big event coming out of what the Justice League has been dealing with since Scott Snyder got on board.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it yet. But anyways, back to Batman 66, fellas.
See, I'm so behind on comics. I mean,
Brian's you're a villain? What?
I'm not a villain.
He's like, did
No,
you guys
I-
talk about something called Forever Evil? Is that new?
I'm looking forward to this thing coming up called Flashpoint.
Woo, what's that all about, fellas? But no, like, okay, so like I have fond memories of Batman 66. I think it's a great
Me too.
segue into Batman for kids to see something physical, and that's along the same lines of why I don't hate Batman and Robin. The film is because that's one that I can put on that my kids actually get a chuckle at and watch and enjoy because of the colors. It is Batman. It is something fit like, actual people. And, and since we're so removed from that series because we had, Batman Begins and that whole Dark Knight series that we can look back and be like, okay, it's not what I wanted then, but okay. And that's kind of like how I've with Batman 66 is just like, I like it. It's fun. I enjoy, much like I like Gotham, I enjoy Batman 66 for the villains. I do like Batman and Robin. There is fun to be had there. But it's not my favorite Batman. I don't have as much invested into it because I haven't gone back and watched all the shows. I tried, and I just couldn't do it. I'm just not as interested in, like, watching all of it. Like, maybe an episode a day, but I couldn't just sit down and binge the series by myself. Maybe if I had you
I
guys
feel
with
you
me,
on that one.
if you guys would come over, we just sit in the basement and watch Batman all day.
But it wouldn't be this Batman. I have to say, like, it just, I don't know. It doesn't hold up as you get older. I really did. What's that?
Oh, I was going to say, I'd say if we all hung out and we're trying to binge Batman 66, we need some alcohol to have fun and enjoy the time.
And then with all the alcohol,
This is our
we'll probably fall in
13-hour
love with
commentary track of where we started the pilot and we just started drinking and we watched all 13 episodes and recorded it. Tyler fell asleep by like the 4th episode, so you just hear
And
me
we're
snoring in the
blaring
back.
by the end.
I'm a big guy. I'm a big guy. I think I could hold my own.
I would be out.
And eventually, after all that drinking, wound up being like that guy at the comic convention. Yes, in episode 10, the rat takes cheese. Or something like that.
The episode would end where you just hear, guys, it's over. Wake up. And Jania just like gets up and leaves. Like, golly. But I mean,
but
the Joker. Let's talk a little bit about Cesar Romero's Joker. His look, is he has a purplish pink suit, and that's what a lot of people have said. Kind of the Joaquin Phoenix suit kind of reminds them of.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yes,
and the Joaquin Phoenix Joker kind of like, I mean, he reminds me of like a blend of the Cesar Romero, like just in the look, the Cesar Romero and the Heath Ledger.
Right. Well, there's probably something to say for, I mean, Cesar Romero's Joker he's a clown,
Yes.
I mean, he really is a clown, and he's, it's makeup and everything. I don't think that there was any history of a vat of acid with the Joker at that point. I'm not sure when that happened.
I think that was in the comics, but it was never touched
not.
on or anything in the series, much like they never really touch on the Wayne murders or the loss of Dick's family either.
Yeah, it wasn't until the 1970s. No, well, when Robin's introduced in Detective Comics, I think 45 or 44. When Robin is introduced, they do bring up Tony Zuko and like his, they were kind of killed like that way, but they don't get into like a whole dramatic depth of it. It's just kind of like Bruce is with Dick in the Batcave, and it basically says, hey, your parents were killed, my parents were killed, let's be a team. Can you honor that? and then that's kind of it. But as far as the Joker had a good bit of appearances in the early Batman, as just like when he's first introduced, we get the whole kind of like how they did in The Dark Knight, where he's just killing random officials and no one can see the death coming, and he's just like, I'm gonna kill this person at midnight. And he was this crazy murderer at first, and then they kind of like tone him down around the late 50s and into the 60s, where they had like the story of the Joker utility belt, which they made into an episode of Batman 66. But there's no vat of chemicals. It's just like, here's this crazy person. Mm-hmm. So,
and if you think about it, out of the live action Jokers that we've had, only 2 of them have actually been tied to the chemicals. And I'm not counting Gotham, because that's a weird construct of like multi-Joker things. But
hey, I like that Joker. I don't care.
Which one?
I like that Joker. The one in Gotham.
Which one? Jeremiah?
Basically 3.
There's 3 Jokers in Gotham. You have the original, which the proto Joker, and then you have why am I drawing a blank on the other?
Well, let me reiterate. I guess I didn't know there was that many Jokers because I just started season 4 and got to the introduction of the Scarecrow. So sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's
spoiler alert.
There's There's Jerome.
That's one. Jerome.
Yeah.
Then Jeremiah. And then Jeremiah sorta, who's thrown in acid and everything, and yeah. So you get 3 versions of the Joker.
All right.
Which isn't there supposed to be a comic that's supposed to come out like forever ago called The 3 Jokers? For gosh sakes.
Yes.
Still, yes.
Every now and then we get a tease
3
from
Jokers
Jeff
Jeff Johns
and Gary Frank. Yeah. It is.
Well,
no, it's not
they're
Frank.
still working on Doomsday Clock.
It's no, it's not Gary Frank. I take that back. It was Jason Fabok. I love his art. I feel stupid for mixing those 2 up in my brain. I apologize to everyone out there listening. But yeah, I mean, he teases panels and stuff, and the 3 Jokers, and I look at it like, there are different 3 like Jokers, and I'm curious, but we'll get it eventually.
I'm hoping after all this time, they announced it so long ago, and now that Doomsday Clock is going to be gone, over 2 years, hopefully with all that time, an extra year added on to Doomsday Clock, hopefully 3 Jokers will be ready to go and it'll be able to be released properly.
And the problem
unless
is,
they've been forced to change so much, like
and the problem
Batman,
is,
who knows?
3 Jokers and Doomsday Clock were both stories that were supposed to be part of the continuity of the overall events, because Doomsday Clock was, going to tie into, post Rebirth, into the current DC universe. And 3 Jokers is teased at the end of the New 52 Justice League. And now they're in Black Label, which is like that, it's non-canonical stories. So I don't know. But anyways, see, this is
that a word? Non-canonical?
Yes. You have canonical.
Is that like a
canon?
Is that like a sailor's term? Not nautical, not canonical?
Not canonical. Bryan, you went to Bible school. You knew about canonization and things being in canon and canonical.
I do. And continuity. No, not continuity, but chronological type thinking, yes. Yes, I do.
It's just like if you ever said retcon to somebody and they're like, what are you talking about? And you're like, retroactive continuity changing. And they're like, what? And you're like, yeah. You're like, yeah. You're like,
I made a lot of my teachers or professors' heads hurt in Bible college. I really did.
So this is why Batman 66 is hard for me to talk about, because I enjoy it, but I don't have the passion for it. It's like I enjoy it. It's there. I appreciate it, but I don't throw myself into its knowledge. I'll watch it, but it's just like I don't yearn to know everything like I do for the other stuff.
Right. What do you think of Burgess Meredith as Penguin?
See, I love his Penguin, and it's so hard because I mean we've got what? We'll break down each character, okay? Well, that's a good way, James. Penguin, Burgess Meredith, Danny DeVito, Robin Lord Taylor. Those are our 3 live-action Penguin representations, and I think
Let's do it.
Burgess Meredith just hits it. Like he has such a great look, feel, and he's I don't know. He doesn't seem as campy. Like he just even though I think the Penguin could be campy in '66, and I think
Like he kind of even seems like part of what he does as like a thief and arms dealer and stuff like that is still part of his character since '66.
yeah.
Well, when you see Burgess Meredith in this, it's really like one thing I do love about Batman '66. You know, even though Tyler's not so passionate about it, but one thing I can say is that if you read the origin of the Riddler and you read the first comic with the Joker and you read the first comic with Penguin and so on and so forth, like their characters and their look pop right out of that comic into the show, like right into it. Just how they look, especially like Frank Gorshin's Joker, or I'm not Frank Gorshin's Riddler. Just they all pop right there. And when I look at Burgess Meredith as the Penguin, and I agree with you, he's the least campy of the villains in my opinion. You know, when you deal with like Mad Hatter, for example, like he has this absolute obsession with hats. It's nothing to do, well, I mean, a little bit with mind control, but just it's all about hats. Everything's about hats, you know. And when we deal with Penguin, you know, this Penguin's, I mean, you get a little campy with like P-Engwin and stuff like that, but this guy's like he's buying massive submarines. He's getting like massive weapon deals. Like he wants his plan to go through. He's a very good schemer in this. And his voice with the squawking and the walking and stuff, I love it. Danny DeVito's Penguin, I gotta tell you, I wouldn't say I hate it.
I hate it. I'll flat out, it's disgusting. I think Danny DeVito would have been a great Penguin, but Tim Burton made it disgusting.
Yes, when he's dying at the end and that black goose come out of his mouth and it doesn't work for me. Like there's no way in God's green earth or in any earth or dimension or multiverse that anybody would elect that dude mayor.
I mean, whatever. You know? I mean, whatever with the physical deformities that the character had, but just the way he was. I mean, he was dirty. He was perverted. He was, violent to a sick degree, you know. And then just everything that Danny DeVito's Penguin was.
Let's kill babies, and then with Catwoman, let's make babies. You know,
right? I mean, there's a lot more. Like, it was kind of crazy when as I got older, just the stuff that's in there.
Right.
All right. So moving on, Riddler. Oh, we didn't hit Robin Lord Taylor. My bad.
We didn't hit Robin Lord Taylor's Penguin.
I like his Penguin. He had technically he played the character the longest. There's moments where he was really good, but it was, I think he did a great job of being a darker Burgess Meredith, but he also had some campiness. And even though he was, thin, I think, because we always think of how the Penguin's more robust, he did a great job of just pulling in the characteristics of the Penguin.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this Penguin. He is my favorite Penguin. He I mean, I didn't think I would like him with the thinness. I thought he was a little too thin, but as I've been watching the show, just him being this, him doing everything he can to save his own skin, and him being this master manipulator and getting very close to his enemies and being able to manipulate them and pull from the strings and all that. Yeah, I was like, this is the Penguin I love, where it's kind of like, I do my own thing, but I'll help out the GCPD when I can. I really liked it. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, you said most of it. Robin Lord Taylor was great. I never realized how short he actually was when it came to, the actor, I didn't realize how short he was, when he was standing next to everybody. And then his walk, he had some kind of abnormality or maybe deformity, the way that he walked. Plus he got injured a few times, but, growing up, like him being thinner when he was younger, I didn't have much of a problem with that. I liked how they gave him a gut and everything when it came down to the end. He wore the top hat, and he was very Burgess Meredith when it came to the finale. But like you said, he was really intelligent in the way he manipulated everybody, the way he got information to use and get what he wanted. And he was very intelligent, being able to read people. He knew how people were going to react to what he had, what people were doing, and what plans were set in motion, so he could still come out on top.
Yes.
So yeah, Robin Lord Taylor. He spent 5 seasons playing the Penguin. Yeah, he did a very good job, and he was mostly one of the standout performances of Gotham.
All right, so next character, Riddler. And we get, like we discussed, Frank Gorshin.
Man, Frank Gorshin, man, that just that laugh, like, just like, I can't do it justice, not even close. but just like, for me, he's my favorite Riddler because he's just an absolute nutcase, but he's not like the nutcase on the way of the Joker. He's just like, he acts like he's the smartest man in the room because he is, and just the way he comes up with plots and plans and riddles and him just wearing that outfit is great too. I love his green and black question mark suit. I've always loved that. But when we get to Jim Carrey, I feel that Jim kind of copied a little bit too much of Gorshin, and at least when he was in the Riddler parts. Well, except at the end of Batman Forever, he was kind of like his own somewhat thing. But there were a lot of times where I felt Jim Carrey was not fully making his own. And then the guy that plays him in Gotham, is really great, but I lost my memory of what his name is.
Michael Corey Smith, I believe.
I was like, I knew Corey.
Yes. I I do really enjoy his Riddler. I like this inner turmoil, this like getting into his obsession with, obsessive compulsiveness, his different side to him. But I kind of felt that when he talks to himself in the mirror and he sees this different version of the Riddler and then, talking to himself, I kind of felt it was a little bit too Two-Face instead of the Riddler as I knew him. I just felt it was a little bit off at times. That's just me.
No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. If it comes down to the Riddler, my favorite's going to be Frank Gorshin. I think John Austen did a weird Riddler. Jim Carrey just did a over-the-top Jim Carrey, Frank Gorshin. I don't feel he really... I don't know, did it himself, but at the time I loved him because everybody loved Jim Carrey at that time. But as I've gotten older,
I still love Jim Carrey.
No, yeah, but I mean, that was his time, All his biggest movies happened in a 2-year span.
Right.
And then Corey, I like him, but I agree with you. There's some choices they did with his character. To me, felt outside of what the Riddler would do. So I'm just but what about you, James? Being awful quiet.
I mean, no, I'm just letting you guys go. I mean, my favorite growing up was Jim Carrey. I mean, it was his time. I was, 9-10 years old when Batman Forever came out. And so it was Jim Carrey. He was funny. He did his thing. I liked Batman Forever, and I have that nostalgic connection with it. I mean, these days I would probably say that Frank Gorshin is my favorite because of he did it originally, and like you had said, the Jim Carrey just did his own over the top impersonation of Frank Gorshin. And then I mean, I really liked a lot of the stuff that came out of Gotham with the Riddler. The mirror and the split personality thing, that was probably one of the worst things. But when he was the Riddler and he did do plans and some of the riddles that he did, the suit was actually the suit he wore was actually pretty nice looking.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have liked to seen something a little different because I think he did a great job with the character. I mean, some of his best stuff was the first couple of seasons when he was just Ed before he had the split personality.
Yeah.
I think if he would have just been Ed and, instead of the psychotic break and the split personalities that he got after murdering, can't remember the lady's name. Yeah, Kringle.
Oh gosh, yeah, Kringle. Kristen Kringle. If he would have just had more of a psychotic break and kind of enjoyed more of doing that than actually being torn and having the split personality, and he would have just went more down a dark path and led the Gotham police force, drove them crazy. I mean, I believe that would have been a much better route. But I mean, I really enjoyed the actor who did it, and it was good. Just some different choices could have been made, but
So Frank Gorshin probably, Frank Gorshin I'd have to say is the best, but I have the nostalgia for Jim Carrey. I can always watch Batman forever.
Yeah, and we're going to eventually talk that movie, so I'm going to hold back on some things. So that brings us to our last of the big four, Catwoman. There's actually been quite a few live-action Catwomen, if you think about it. We have Julie Newmar,
but I don't... Oh, go ahead.
Eartha Kitt, Lee Merriweather, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Anne Hathaway.
And then Cameron Bartakovia. And then we have... Okay, I'm horrible with names. You know this. You both know this.
I knew it was coming.
And we have the girl whose name I can't remember who was in the last episode of Gotham. And if we want to get really bad, we have the stunt casting from Birds of Prey for the one episode. But that doesn't count. So, Catwoman. I think I don't like Eartha Kitt as Catwoman. I like Julie Newmar and Lee Merriweather because I feel like they're both playing the same character of Catwoman. Just they couldn't get Julie Newmar for filming of the movie, so they got Lee Merriweather. So it really wasn't like reinterpreting the character. I don't like Michelle Pfeiffer. To me, that doesn't... I understand.
Thank you.
I understand where Tim Burton was coming from, and I try to look at things now, like even like my nostalgia filter, my love for Batman Forever. I can talk about how that Two-Face is horrible, but we're not going down that hole. It's not the character, and that's how I feel about Catwoman. Is she's not really the Catwoman of there, of the character. So, and Anne Hathaway is my favorite Catwoman. I think she comes closest to how I feel like the comic book Catwoman would be. But I feel like I've never gotten that perfect like Catwoman on screen. Now one of you talk.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Bryan.
No, sorry. I'm with you. I don't feel like we've got that definitive Catwoman. I don't think. I mean, a lot of people say that Heath Ledger is like the definitive Joker, but I don't know if we've. Well, maybe we have. I don't know. He was really good, but I don't feel we have definitive Catwoman. I don't feel like any of the other villains that we've got like a definitive one. But the thing about Catwoman is, we're talking here of the woman that Batman decided that he was going to marry. This is a very important character to the Batman mythos, for gosh sakes. Mm-hmm. And I just don't, I don't know when we're going to get her. I liked Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, her actually really being a thief. That was pretty important. And her having that attractiveness and that pull and that little bit of selfishness, but still wanting to help. I think where Anne Hathaway's thing kind of went off the rails is pretty much the ending of The Dark Knight Rises. But not necessarily her fault. Dark Knight Rises. but okay, they're just going to be together in Paris or whatever, and that's the way it's going to be. Yeah, sure. And her, Batman getting his butt totally kicked by Bane so many times, and then Catwoman comes out with his gun, and then boom, done. That kind of pissed me off. But I really like.
Get me started on Bane's arc from The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay, guys, this isn't The Dark Knight Rises.
I understand. I love Bane too. Believe me, I understand. I was born in darkness. No. Sorry.
I know you.
We'll get to it. All I'll say is I loved his portrayal, and then we'll get to it later on.
Yes, I understand. I'm trying to remember that girl's name in Gotham. Oh, Cameron Bogombica
Bacon Nova.
Bacon
donut.
Bacon donor.
You guys are something else.
Cameron Bikendova. Anyway, that girl, I thought she was great.
She was.
She had this whole I like Bruce, but I'm very guarded. I live on the streets. I am a thief. I'm a jerk. Maybe I'll help you today. What's in it for me? I would say that in all the Catwoman we have, she's probably the best that we've had so far, and in terms of the full character, like how I feel Catwoman should be. But she was just a kid. She's not. I don't know. Gotham's a mess. Being such a bigger Batman fan than I am Superman fan, I know, kill me. But it was just a mess, and it's possible that with this reboot that they have coming at, that they could get her right. I don't know. I would never pick Robert Pattinson to play Batman, so I don't have high hopes.
Not commenting. That's a whole other episode.
I know. I hear you. But I think we can get her in the future, the right Catwoman. But as for Julie Newmar in this movie, she was fine for the time. She really tricked Bruce Wayne and Batman to fall in love with her, or whatever the heck was going on here. Who knows? She was good for the time.
It was just Adam West being horny in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Yes. There was some questions at that particular Comic-Con I was at. Let me tell you, I heard some things. Oh my gosh! Children should not have been in that room. But anyway.
Catwoman. Lee Merriweather from the movie here. It's the version of the 60s Catwoman that I'm most familiar with. It's kind of funny how she's always like meow and meowing and hissing and stuff. Taking the cat part quite literally. Michelle Pfeiffer. I've always loved Batman Returns. It's Michelle Pfeiffer. She's gorgeous. She's a great actress, and like a tiny latex suit. So it was a good movie. She did a really good job playing a very unhinged Catwoman, very supernatural. Anne Hathaway. She was really good. She was confident. She was a very good cat burglar. She was tough. She held her own on the streets. She wasn't a victim. So they did. Anne Hathaway did a very good job. I enjoyed her a lot. Cameron from Gotham. She has the most time as Catwoman now out of anybody. For a teenage actress, she did a really good job. And for the attributes they gave her as a proto Catwoman before she became Catwoman, a street thief, an orphan, and the character aspects they gave her, the on and off again relationship with Bruce, the fighting, learning from people as she was growing up, being on both sides of the fence, helping mostly when it was beneficial for her. It's probably one of the more comic accurate versions of the character that we've had to a degree. Before she was actually Catwoman, she had probably most of the characteristics of the Catwoman from the comics. So, and I think if it was something different, or maybe she got it at a different time, I don't know. She grew up a dancer, so she had really good body control, and she did well with the stunts and the choreography, the fight choreography in the show. Did we even bring up Halle Berry?
No, nobody brings up Halle Berry.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot she was
the
Catwoman.
Crow. That was the Crow with a cat. Okay.
It was
Gentlemen.
the Crow with the cat. Sounds good to me, but
How great was Sharon Stone in that movie, man? Wow.
All right, so we want to wrap this up. Anyone's final thoughts on Batman 66? Like I said, I knew we'd get tangential because we always do, but it's just the show spawns so much, and it's, it has the legacy that it has, like the comic book that was started and the two sequel animated films. I mean, it has a legacy on its own that will, it'll grow and continue to through generations to come.
My final thoughts on Batman 66 would have to be, I think the greatest part about it is it's where a child can be introduced to Batman. It can be introduced to the idea of Batman, a love of Batman, before we get into who Batman really is, and that darker side. And I think that's why, I made a comment earlier that this show doesn't hold up, but maybe it does. It's where you can introduce, your son or daughter to Batman, to Batgirl, to all these great villains, and share just a piece of that love for this character that we have. And that's a legacy that's definitely going to hold up. And Adam West said once, you have all these actors nowadays saying, I'm Batman. And back when I was that character, when I walked in the room, they knew I was Batman. And Adam West will definitely always hold a place as a great Batman. And I think the most important thing of this love that we have for characters is the ability to share it on to others and pass that on. And I feel that Batman 66 is a perfect way to start Batman to a new generation.
I'm just going to say I can't say anything better than what Bryan just did, so I'm just going to pass.
yeah, I would not get rid of Batman 66. I think it's important for the character. It is what it is for the time it was made. It's really fun to watch. It's extremely kid friendly.
Yes, without any adult undertones. I mean, there's a little bit in the movie, but it's so light compared to some of the stuff they get. I just want to throw this out there. We started to watch Puss in Boots, the movie, with our kids the other night, and Jeannie and I hadn't seen it in forever. And, there's a lot of adult content and undertones in that movie that I did not remember.
Oh, yeah. No Shrek films, man. Oh, yeah.
So,
Very much so. Very much so.
I knew there was some, but I had forgotten. Because I just don't ever watch them. But sorry, I didn't mean to go out there. My bad.
Oh, that's fine.
No, not at all.
That was mostly it. I mean, it's colorful. It's very kid friendly. It's funny. It's campy for the time. I mean, at the time, the comics were campy like this. It wasn't for a while after this that it took a turn. Who was the writer? Neil Adams. Was that it? Started.
I mean, people forget that what the comics were like at the time of this show's inception. And, where they had taken.
It should be appreciated and celebrated for what it was. It's a chapter in the history of Batman. Batman wasn't always, he wasn't always a dark killer from his inception, and then turned into this dark tragic character back again in the 80s. So he went from killing people to this campy character, what we see in the show, and then back into what Frank Miller had done and what he is today.
Wait, you said Batman killed people?
Yes, sir.
We're going to have to sit you down and tell you some stories. But all right, guys.
Tell you a story of when he buried somebody alive, or when he hung him from the neck from the bat plane
and the very first comic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Drop kick somebody in their head and snap their neck. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Didn't Superman throw people out windows? What?
Yeah. Because that's back when they just took care
Yes,
of
sir.
business.
In Action Comics #1, he beat the crap out of a domestic abuser, a wife beater.
As he
He sure did.
As he should have.
Yes, sir.
That's the heroes I can get behind.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for this chat. And
Absolutely.
we will pick up our next commentary. We will be discussing Batman, Mask of the Phantasm.
My favorite Batman movie.
So stick around.
Absolutely one of the top ones.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal, log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.